Welcome everybody to our first Poets Near and Afar here from the Oceanside Library in New York. We are delighted to welcome Betsy Mars, who comes from Afar in California, and Sarah Borruto, who comes from here on Long Island. Although, as far as Oceanside goes, she's kind of afar, you're out in Suffolk County, right, Sarah?
Yeah, I'm in Bayshore.
Yeah, you see, so you need a visa to get here. So,
Yeah.
but for these purposes, we're leaving it wide open. So we welcome everybody. We're excited to have another season of this. We'll be running this through May, and then we start with the gazebo again in June of 2024. Right now, our building is set to be for us to get back in the building in June of 2024. So we're excited about that as well, as we continue to go through our construction. But without any further ado, I give you, ladies and gentlemen, Betsy Mars.
Hi, this was a kind of sudden unexpected pleasure. So I'm seeing myself too big. I'm trying to figure out if I can reduce myself. Anyway, I'm really happy to be here. The last time I was here was with Alan Wallowitz when we were trying to pawn our, I don't know if you, yeah, with that, you can't see it, but we had a collaborative book in the middle of the night that we were promoting from Afar, and so we were happy to be welcomed here for that. And I'm going to read, I think, just maybe one poem from that. I know Alan's here, and I'm hoping he might read another poem from that pairing. But the first one, I wanted to mention that without saying too much, my parents' anniversary would have been yesterday. I forget. I think it would have been, I don't even like to say, I think they were married in 1954. And so they're on my mind this month. And October is just a big month for me in terms of all kinds of associations. And I love the autumn. So I'm going to read a variety of poems that are related to the month. And this one's for my father. It's called Burning Bright. And as I said, I'm pretty, don't tend to do this, but it makes me a little more comfortable, and you'll kind of get the idea. But this is this is featured in the poem. So it's to be in your skin, I put on your favorite animal, adjust the strap on the tiger hat, the pink nose rimmed with black, sharp fangs, the stately stripes, your large paws are ghosts on my shoulders. They weigh me down, they lift me up. I wear your paisley robe with royal blue lining, satin, fancier than you ever aspired to. Another skin I am still discovering as I dig through the pockets of your cast-off clothes. Now I can get rid of that hat. But when I took that one to my workshop, they were saying, what are you talking about? And I said, well, yeah, it's an actual hat. I think they thought it was some metaphorical thing, but my dad's favorite animal was the tiger. And so I keep that around and associate with him. And then this one is also from my father, and it's called Plumbing. And it was in the middle of the night, which Alan and I wrote collaboratively. My inheritance of prunes, 1.5 bags unfinished, eaten ritualistically daily to avoid constipation. Also dates, 2 tubs, medjool, minerals and fiber rich, 5 prunes and 3 dates to start each morning sweetly with expectation. This is how the day will go, movingly. Dried fruits, almost primal, handed down with his last possessions. The things he touched, now I eat them daily, tasting only sweetness. I'm going to try to change my view because I'm distracting myself. There we go. That's better. Okay. And then I have a couple for my mom that I would like to read also. And one is called Sillage, I guess would be the French pronunciation, and it means I stumbled across it after I'd written the poem, and it seemed really apt because if you don't know, it refers to the scent that follows somebody. So when they leave the room, you're still, picking up that scent in the air. I dream of Jeannie on a trail of vapors you come as I crack open the cracked box. I slip through a scented wormhole of space and time to the heart of the matter. In another dimension, I follow close behind on the essence of you, the bass notes left in the bottle. My conscious mind amnesiac, but my primitive nose remembers. Scent remains unperturbed. A complex perfume imported, outlasting you and your body, French at your service. No memorial except your legacy of language and luxury. The box sits on the shelf idle until I need you, and then with one whiff I follow, transported to a splintered realm. Holy, holy, holy. Shadowed and strung with tripwires, nurture and neglect, ice and fire. Memories dissipate like a genie after 3 wishes are spent. My first wish and only wish would be that this fragrance lingers until I too depart, leaving my own olfactory trace in my wake. The bottle tightly stoppered to preserve my mothered memories, perfumed, only the best notes remain. I realized when I was preparing for this that it kind of ends on the same note as the one for my father, that only the sweetness remains, and for my mother, only the best notes remain. And I hadn't realized that before, but it's interesting what you pick up in your own poetry. Some, a lot of the same words come into a lot of my poems, I realized. So another one that I wrote from sort of for my son and for my father, but it's called At the OBGYN. The doctor spreads a thin layer of conductive gel on the moon-shaped surface of my pregnant skin. The ultrasound wand passes over and detects a beat, the faint first pulse of my new-formed boy, the reality of a body within my body finally sinking in. Across the street, my mother lies in intensive care, paralyzed from an attempt to remove a tumor from her brain. I encourage the surgery. She might never walk again. The doctor reads my tears as joy, and I couldn't say whether he's right or wrong. It's true, we're only flies to wanton gods. We lay our eggs, create a buzz, and then we're gone. I guess that reflects, the family I grew up in. My father was a lapsed Orthodox Jew, and my mother was just basically non-religious, I would say. So I wanted to read, following that, I wanted to read a poem I wrote called Passing, and it was sort of about my childhood search for, belief, religion, something fitting in with my friends, I guess. Passing. I stood with the commandments, followed them to the letter. I hid who I was, hitchhiked through churches looking for a handout of spirit, a whiff of God riding on the swing of incense in a thurible, hiding the smoke of shoplifted cigarettes. I kneeled at the altar of the toilet, trying to be thinner, to shed the weight of guilt, to blend in with all those sinners. My lighter friends in their plaid skirts eating fish dinners on Fridays, handing over their wrongdoings in the Sunday confessional. In my 4th grade photo, I wore 2 chains, a cross and a silver Star of David, and believed I had it covered. Thank you. So that's just been, I finally let go of that more or less in high school when I had a crush on a guy who told me, who, as Marx said, religion is the opiate of the people. And I'm not anti-religion. I just realized, I'll find out in the end, I guess. So anyway, somehow religion, despite my father's best efforts, keeps coming up in a lot of my poetry. And I did have friends that I went to Catholic services with, and Christian and Mormon, and pretty much you name everything other than Jewish for most of my life. So this one, another, I don't know, thing that haunts me, I guess, in August or in October, or something, significant to me about October, is that somebody I love deeply was born on October 11th, and he died by suicide in 2016. So I've written a lot for him. trying to come to terms with that, I guess, and just to remember him and honor him. He's a beautiful person. And this one is entitled titled Communion. He ghosted me everywhere, like Jesus appearing on toast. I elevated him and found him popping up when I least expected it, in songs or scents, in a bearded man similar in appearance. When he disappeared, I despaired and prayed, drank wine like water, held his ashes like relics, and doubted they could be the body wafer thin. I broke bread and hoped to make him whole again. I've written a lot for him, and it's hard to, narrow it down. One nice thing is a couple of times he or my, subconscious has brought him back to me in my dreams. And I guess I'm going to read the one, I don't know. I'm going to read one called Incarnation, and it was for Charles, and it has an epigraph. All poets understand the final uselessness of words, which was Joy Harjo. In my dream, you were reborn, playing under shading palm fronds. In some island jungle, I recognized you, your toes sunk in the loamy earth. You were foreign, and your tongue no longer knew my name. You used coconuts for cricket balls. Your name meant tea. You were a child. I was still me. You were lost to me for a time in a place I couldn't reach, your body freshly formed. And I guess that's what I would wish for him. And, I can still envision that. And that was a number of years ago that I wrote that. And that dream is still vivid to me. So I'd love to believe that that's where he is. And then I know my poems are pretty short, so I might read one more for him because he's just very, very important to me. And his sister is one of my close friends. Anyway, this one is called Red Flag Winds. And it was, I think around this time of year, we had really dramatic winds one night. And I think I was half in and out of dreams, but it's for Charles also. Charles returns on a gust of wind. Charles returns on a gust through an open window. In my room, curtains billow, blinds lift, paintings hung on nails shift as air comes in. In the night, the house shakes with what could be a foreshock. A door slams as the house seeks equilibrium. As I settle back into sleep, he laughs, his mouth full of air again. We find each other in the hall. There is no aftershock as we grapple with our luck, the wild joy of it all. So I'm going to move on from that. Thank you. But it's that one's very vivid to me too still. This one is called Waste Management, and I wrote it about a year ago. And so it's kind of another fall poem. Boxes and bags line the drive, stuffed with old technology, cords that no longer fit, entangled memories of childhood, of motherhood, of mother. There's an elephant rocker with a broken back, a typewriter no one has used for 18 years, ink dried, keys forever stalled. The wind makes music, whipping the bags. The air swirls with promise of a fresh start. Autumn is around the corner. My mind turns to mulch. And continuing, I guess I have a recurrent theme in my poems is, about mortality, death, mortality. So this one was another dream poem actually, but it took place. My daughter was the other person in my dream, even though I don't name her. It's called Dream Borders. Another grief on top of grief. We return from abroad, and it was never there. A thief reveals this existence a fraud. In the sky are twinkles in darkest space, clouds that look like algae blooms, or it could be only dust, a flume of opacity. What is life but belief without certainty of God? Life and death but two countries, the boundary our breath. And here's a little tiny short one I wrote. Actually, I often substitute teach at the high school where I attended, which was not my best experience as a student, but I love it. I love going there as a substitute teacher. And I happened to leave a little bit late one day after the students were gone and started noticing things and wrote this poem. It's called Flight Path. Who painted these brushstroke clouds? Pushed the leaves skittering along the walkway, made the air loud with ravens on the flyway. Who flushed the whoosh from the damp branches above, lit the sky's lamp warming my back? Who is flying home today, sirens wailing a final dirge nearby? Thank you. And then I just have a couple more, and they're pretty short if I have time for that. I'm watching my time. I think I
You
stopped.
got plenty of time. You got at least 6-7 minutes. You're doing fine. Don't worry about it.
Okay, great. Thank you. This one, it's unusual, but my mother, my father, and my stepmother all attended Rutgers University, and my mom and my stepmother were in competition, I guess, for my father at the time. And it didn't work out for my stepmother at the time, but I don't know, 50 years later or something, my father and my stepmother reunited after their spouses died, and I came to adore her. And she's a huge influence in my life. And she died in May, and I spent, I think, the last 17 nights with her while she was under hospice care in her apartment. And it was just one of the most profound times of my life. And so I wrote this for her. It's called Holding On for Joan. What we see is a freezer full of ice cream cups, bed wedges, compression boots, a woman lifting her hand to the air, grasping for something we can't see, the rhythm of the oxygen machine, pushing air through the cannula, the rasp of its breath, the slow pulse of her neck, only visible up close. Intermittently, she wakes, dry-mouthed, laughs at her hallucination, weaves a living dream. She's holding on, and I am too, hoping we'll both be as strong as love, as strong as her grip on my hand, eyes locked on each other, on the beauty of the other, on the cusp of the mystery, resisting the crossing, the inevitability, begging the great whoever to preserve these memories, which I know will be all I hold before very long. Thank you. I was just grateful I was able to write that because, you see things from the outside and it looks, I don't know, sad or pathetic, but it was really incredibly beautiful the whole time with her. And this was written around that time too, and it's called ossuary, or as I looked it up, I read it recently, and it was, people pronounce it ossuary and a lot of different ways, but it's ossuary to me. All our differences melt, skin stretches and thins, eyes sink, submerge into interior living as the end nears. We are more alike than we seem. Surface immaterial, foundation begins to emerge. What's most solid, more obvious as we get ready to leave our bones behind. Would I recognize you in an ossuary? Would I know myself? You and I, a pair of cast-offs, spirits flown. Thank you. Thank you. So I decided, I think I'm just going to read one more, and it's ending, I think, on a little bit happier note, although it was written during the pandemic when it was a difficult, it was more frightening, I guess. And it's called Seeing Shrek at the Drive-In During a Pandemic. Seeing Shrek at the Drive-In During a Pandemic. Ogres are like onions, and I am too, taking off the outer skin for a couple of hours to be close to kin. I peel my gloves off after the ticket taker hands me a menu for the snack bar, edge away as far as I can from the van they wave me next to, which is spilling laughing children. The dark descends, Shrek slouches before a rising moon, donkey nearby. I sigh in recognition, alone in the swamp heat of my enclosed car, shutting out the unmasked. In the car to my right, my daughter behind glass, windows up. We communicate by phone and gesture with thumbs up and heads bobbing to the soundtrack of her childhood. I am trying to atone for all my layers, the rawness, the cutting, the weeping of the onion, the irritants which sear. In the castle, a dragon slumbers, ready to fire up its scorching breath. At night, I assume my true form, hope, that I might be loved anyway. By light of day, I spin candy floss from spider webs, balloon whatever frogs come my way. Thank you. And that's it. If you haven't seen Shrek, you have to see Shrek. Alan Wallowitz, that means you. No, I'm kidding.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you
Very
very much. Everybody can kind of let unmute themselves, and let's give Betsy thank you so much for kicking us off so well. Appreciate
Thank you.
it.
And thank you for everyone being here and listening. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Now I also have to remind you, if you do not want to be in the open mic, so if you're just here as a guest, or if you don't have anything for the open mic, please put that in the chat. Let me know. Otherwise, I'm going to call on you, and then we'll do the whole hello, Bueller. So if you could, that would be wonderful. Remove the spotlight. Okay. So without any further ado, we bring somebody who was with us at the gazebo this summer, and she did a great job, even in a huge rainstorm. And so I was excited to have her back. Ladies and gentlemen, Sarah Borruto.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me. And thank you, Betsy, for your beautiful words. I'm going to read some new poems tonight. This first one is called I'm the Gardener in the Garden. My body, my bones, I think of them too often. I'm the gardener in the garden. I water and weed myself, my roots imperishable as music. The hummingbirds hungry for my nectar, drinking from my soul as I shed petals like thyme. Hydrangeas and dewdrop buttercups mixed in with dust-blessed lilies, oozing scents of lavender incense, alluring the honeybees to their new home. I am here, frolic in my fields, thread my daisies through your hair. I'll replenish my soil every few weeks and witness the dancing done atop of me. This next one was published in Brave Voices magazine in last year. It's called The 5 Stages of Grief. A mother orca carries her dead infant on her back through icy waters for 17 days before dropping the calf. An elephant circles a pile of bones, sniffing and touching the remains of their deceased with their trunks. A chimpanzee brushes the fur and cleans the teeth of a corpse, refusing to return to their loved one's place of death. Magpies bury their dead under nests of twigs and grass. Crows squawk when one of their own departs. I carry her brooch, smell her clothes, avoid her home, build a nest of twigs and grass, and let out a squawk. Toothless Girl. My mind is ricocheting between war and a mother's embrace. After death, we are eyes to the past, but I've always been more interested in the future. How can nothing last forever when I don't know what the future holds? It'll be my forever, my last words, a dying breathy whisper I'll carry into the afterlife. I'm getting rid of pieces of myself, but I've not lost anything, like pulling wisdom teeth. I am the same girl, just with holes in the back of my mouth. The toothless girl twirling around the void, weightless with forever trundling off her tongue. I wish I could remember myself in utero, the calm before the storm, when I was part of another woman and not quite yet my own. I've always cared so much about everything, but now caring comes with shame. The sensitive are shackled to the stake for forgetting nonchalance. But is it so terrible to care? I could never not care. Concern and justice burrow themselves in my left ribs, my lightning rods I unsheath in the face of abandonment. There is now no sound of growing, but it does not go unnoticed. One day you look outside and the buds have blossomed, those silent, sneaky buds creeping up behind you with their beauty. I've grown in silence and lost all but fragility. Now I'm left looking for something to fill the holes in the back of my mouth. I know exactly what I'm yearning for, but not exactly why. Do I yearn because of free will or fate or laws of assumption, attraction, etc.? Do I yearn because I hate tonguing the empty holes out of habit? I yearn because our souls are bound to bone until they're freed. I yearn because the sea reaches out to me when I walk into it. I yearn because I can cross a bridge and I can be it. I yearn because you can always tell the spring sun from winter. I yearn because it kisses my skin instead of bruising it. Painted ladies. The painted ladies pass me without grazing my skin, as per usual penalty for not having a sweet enough surface. Did the lavender bush taste better? I'll try to blush in lilac, occur as nectar. I'll mix the colors into an elixir and drink myself into a masterpiece, flushed in hues that flutter inside me. Maybe they parade me, or maybe they degrade me. I march filled with invasive species. If there's enough liquid left to make watercolor, I'll paint the aerial creatures myself, their wings pallid as white pansies, my blank canvas. I'll streak a ruby puddle that bleeds downwards like a cherry creek and burnish the blades with spots of amber. Fence in the colors with abstract lines, the black smears holding in the expressionism. Then finish with dots of white predators will mistake for eyes piercing through the burning orange face. Porous painted ladies, the light penetrates. Pyro painted ladies set aflame by the sun's spotting. Palette of painted ladies forming a prism afloat. Pious painted ladies masking as the immortal, pure as molt. I try to run my fingers along the canvas, but the sudden movement makes my art fly away. This next poem is forthcoming in Moral Crema Academic Journal. It'll be in their winter issue, so it'll be out in January. It's called Please, Please Hold Her For Me. I find myself mad at my own melancholy. My rage repents, leaving me sore, scorned, and sore drawn. I'll make my own prayers from now on and cry for the girl with red hair. The patrons say the manic Mondays and resentment. Please, please hold her for me. Can my endurance indoctrinate me into a new inner ideology? One where concepts confess my moral imparity. One that's freeing. One where I stand taller. One where I'm no longer scared of myself. I'll write into a manifesto to flip through anytime the mirror reflects an enemy. Please, please hold her for me. I rest my head on my mother's shoulder. I wonder who will bury who first. I still can't decide if I want to be under piles of dirt or burnt ash, but death does not wait for decisiveness. Please, please hold her for me. My hands will wrinkle, but they'll still be my hands. They'll be the same hands that hold other hands that will wrinkle. Worn and calloused and scarred, and their grip will loosen with my last breath. Please, please hold them for me. Baby teeth. The tea kettle is screaming back at me. Scared, I swallow the sound, collecting myself the same way a good mother collects baby teeth. She doesn't have the heart to throw them out with the trash. They'll stay in a mason jar hidden from the children. In 20 years, they'll find them. Do I have the heart to let go? I can't let go of who I was before, the way the seasons felt different. Spring is not the same spring I knew as a little girl, and I still haven't found my baby teeth. These are the feelings my children will never see, a transgressive turbulence I'll save for winter. In 20 years, will I be a good mother who clings on to her children's youth and feeds them sugared lies? I can't even hold on to my own, and my turbulence has always been year-round. I've never been a good liar, even with the ones we sometimes need to hear. Steel-gripped and stone-cold is all I'll be, the kind of person who lets go of baby teeth. I don't usually give context, but this poem I did a lot of research to give background to, because I was born in 1999, so I was thinking about Y2K and the end of the world and how everyone thought we were all doomed. And it got me thinking of how many times in history that same situation has happened. So this is called An Ode to 1999 and the Years That Came Before and After It. A red Mercury falls from the sky. I watch it from the bathroom window. It falls 3 times, I wake. I was born just in time for the world to end. I took my first breath with a bomb strapped to my chest, swallowed and placed into the arms of the killer computers. The doctor picked up a Y2K emergency kit on his way home. But the 1933 babies were delivered on doomsday of their own, born into Armageddon, destined to witness the final battle between good and evil before they could learn the difference, only to survive to have the 1968 babies born into Helter Skelter. But to be born in 1665 meant to be born ringing in the rapture, hardly speaking amid the year tainted by the devil's number, teased by a 3-day fire that was meant to last an eternity. The 1909 babies were greeted by gas mask parents hovering over their cradles on anti-comet pills, while their parents and their parents' parents constantly waited for the second coming that never came. The 1929 babies were late for the roaring party, but no one is born too late for war. And hearts break for the 2020 babies with no social skills, a seemingly trivial perplexion in comparison to the 2011 babies whose fate was dictated by the Mayan calendar, or those born a year prior who would barely be walking on Judgment Day. Maybe the 2100 babies will be the ones to watch the sky full of red and find foreignness in beaches and familiarity with rising water. But perhaps at some point, we are all born at the end of the world. Exposed bone. I prayed for you and then I prayed to forget you, presenting my sadness like exposed bone. The grief is a barbed wire necklace. I know how to survive, but I forget what the first step is every time. Do I grab at the metallic thorns in a primal frenzy, or wait until they unravel themselves, surrendering to their throat hold? Pluck me from the earth just for a little while. The leaves helicopter downwards as I ascend up towards the slivers of light peeking through the clouds. Even so, I get caught in the rafters of the home I can't run away from. The roof is a cruel cave closing in on me. I'm exhausted living in the same room the memories live in. I talked to the walls about you, then took a hammer to them, exposing their bones instead of my own. Snake Charmer. Imagine doing the things we used to do. Be the light and be the shadow, be the ghost that vanishes through it. No one will save us from our boredom. Not enough stars fill the dome. Tattoo your secret onto a rose petal, a needlepoint permanence on the temporality of nature. I'll read it in the garden at dusk, sucking the sky dry and spitting out the stars like watermelon seeds. A snake charmer I'll be, one immune to venom, bringing secrets to light, giving the scaled creatures a song, giving myself to the wild, nod at their fanged heads while dancing with metallic chains wrapped around my belly. Lure them out of the wicker basket with sweet music, all eyes on us. A crowd surrounds, standing while I shake my hips. But that's not what I wanted. I wish they would blink, or cheer, or dance with me. And this poem was published in Colors the magazine, and it was their blue issue, so that's why it's blue themed. Cobalt Crowbar. The ferocity of being June's child is fading. I should have been born in winter. Ice cold, teal to the touch, the chill in my spine exudes a blue that excavates the fourth chamber of my heart. Blood is blue before it leaves the body and drips down the skin scarlet red. Sapphire enclosed veins never not, but I can feel mine do. Is there another strange girl that feels her veins tie in tight ropes when life confronts her? I want to be your heaven and your hell, the pearly gates in the second circle. Love was never meant for explosive hearts, and mine is a tripwire. There's loneliness in feeling so deeply. Even the bottom of the ocean stares down at me. Take this cobalt crowbar and wedge it between my wretched soul and crooked ribs. Let her out, let her love you, the strange girl, tangled in tripwires and ropes, who loves to love everyone but herself. Predator to prey. I do not know where devotion ends and obsession begins. Sucking the fingers that feed me, licking wounds and salivating over sentiment, caring too much over the evolution of my dreams. When did you stop running away from me? I was the predator and now I am the prey, ignoring the hunt hot on my heels. God forbid you know I hear it. It's uncertain when you'll catch up to me. It seems my eyes unbolt right before your teeth sink into my scabs half healed, devouring the mouth that was supposed to devour yours. All I'm left with is the same room I always find myself alone in. The same room you've never seen, but every object and essence carries a piece of you in. A ghost that vanishes through me and hangs over my head in a veil. A mountainous fog that hugs my eyes. Misty floodgates waiting for the dam to break. So I just have two more short poems. This one is called Walking the Line. To walk the line between feeling lonely and being lonely. A tightrope I find myself stuck in the middle of. A revolving door that never stops spinning. A waiting room that doesn't have the patience for me. Do you have the patience for me? I know hunger, but I've never known satisfaction. Speak my name even if you hate it now. Speak my name even if I can't hear you say it. Speak it so I'm reminded I am. Is stained glass nothing but shattered pieces stitched back together? Metallic threads fusing shards of fuzzy memories. I pray I'll know the good from the bad and relive more of the bad, so I can be freed from the shackles of the unreciprocated, so that this forsaken saint will one day make a loved God. Speak my sermons and tell me I'm your altar, begging for forgiveness from. This last one is called Wasteland. I am the architect of the bridges I burn. In this wasteland, the crows pick their teeth with their own feathers. In this wasteland, we dance under the oldest new moon. In this wasteland, the violets resemble violence. In this wasteland, we shake our heads yes when we say no. In this wasteland, the cicadas roar and the butterflies are too tired. In this wasteland, the sailors ignore the sirens. In this wasteland, cradles rock like tipping boats. In this wasteland, banned books are used as firewood. In this wasteland, burning rubber is the sweetest perfume. In this wasteland, the comets are cowardly. In this wasteland, we eat from empty plates. In this wasteland, I am wasted and so small. Thank you all for listening.
Absolutely wonderful. Thank you so much. Absolutely wonderful. All right, let's unmute ourselves and give Sarah a big round of applause here.
Yeah, same as what Alan said. That's great.
Yeah.
So many of the same themes too, and that was wonderful.
Thank you.
I think the 1999 thing actually got to most of the people on the call right now.
Yeah.
Just absolutely stunning stuff. Thank you so much, Sarah. Okay, so now we're going to do the open mic after two great readings kicking it off. If you do not want to be in the open mic, please make sure that you put it in the chat. So we're going to start off with Alan Wallowitz, and Ann Cohn, you're on deck.
Oh, I guess I'm unmuted. Thanks, Tony. Great to be here and to meet someone born in 1999 and to see Betsy and to hear her and not have to worry so much about reading next. Recently passed the 50th anniversary of the death of Pablo Neruda, and no one can do Neruda, but this poem I hope is in the spirit of Neruda. It's called Public Men Have No Desires. Finally, I can say to you, I'm not coming home. Not that your home isn't warm enough, your arms not long enough to hold me all around and warn away the shadows of the moon. It's only this worm has crawled inside, chewing all the wood within. And as it turns to dust, there will be nothing left to hold. The shell of me is about to implode, and should I come home and let love take hold, my mortal ticking will be blown to the wind and never to be whole again. It was just tonight I heard it proclaimed that public men have no desires. Well, this is the worm of desires I felt crawl in me. I want to speak with it, nurture it. I want to help it do its work, messy and alive at last. Let it keep me at peace in my own sweet time while I still pretend to walk the earth. Thanks.
Thank you, Alan. Okay, Anne, you're up, and Sylvia Boardzuck, you're on deck.
Okay. I'm just stunned by the beautiful readings this evening. Memory, mortality, it really was very profound. So thank you to our featured readers. This is a one-sentence poem. This won second place in the Long Island Fair, loosely based on actual events. It's called Dead Ringer. Haunted by aggressive sales tactics, the new owners of a certain mansion in Amityville stopped an obnoxious home security system solicitor dead in his tracks by installing Jacob Marley's ghost on their doorbell camera.
Wonderful. All right, Anne, thank you. Okay, Sylvia, you're up, and Ronald Bremner, you're on deck.
Thank you, Tony. So I'll start with two that I wrote more or less about the month of September. This one is called Early September. It's my latest poem, I think. Small pockets of leaves on trees glow red against their dark green brethren. My air conditioner has ceded prominence to open windows and doors. The rain, no longer hot and humid, now gives a ripple of goosebumps. The schoolyard is vacant of summer campers in their blue and yellow t-shirts. Beachgoers laden with nylon chairs and huge bags return earlier in the afternoon. Long-awaited vacations are now just memories. Separate groups of boys and girls ride their bikes with single-mindedness. Mothers stand in long lines in stores, their carts full of children's clothing. My evening walk now ends before dinner instead of starting after the dishes are done. Even the moon seems chilly after dark and draws up the clouds for cover.
All right, thank you very much.
Thanks.
All right, Sylvia, appreciate it. Ronald, you're up, and Jack Saffos, you're on deck. Okay, where's Ronald? There he is. Ronald, you with us? He may have stepped away. All right, Jack, you ready?
Okay, I am ready.
There you go. Go get him.
Okay, this is called Fleeting.
1 second, Jack, before you do anything. And DD, you're on deck. Go ahead, Jack.
Okay, here we go. Fleeting. It's right here, though it seems it just left. It's not something lost. It's as close as the breath. It had not gone missing, though it could not be seen. There was a moment of fear gone when it was found. Fear not the fleeting, it all comes and goes, in sight, out of sight, on the skin, then no longer to be felt. But there is the return of something so precious, though that too is passing, and it will flow on. So we are not alone. It's happening to us all. Fear relief, pain, peace, and also grief and joy. So we walk in the present moment. Right now, this is real. Yet it's also fluid. This too streams on.
Great. Thank you very much, Jack. Dee Dee, you're up, and Robert Rubino, you're on deck.
Thank you, Tony, and thank you for starting us off with this incredible reading, Betsy, Sarah. Just beautiful, beautiful.
Here, here.
So, contrary to that, the title of this is When Poetry No Longer Saves. The blood continues flowing. The tears become saltier. Eyes reddened, nose running. The angst quits responding. I might as well be a child with no mother to rock me to peaceful sleep. The toys are destroyed. The sky pretends to be blue, and even as flowers act out their seasonal roles and sun rises and sets on time, the world is no longer trustworthy. Disappointment becomes resentment. But at whom shall I shoot my arrows? At whom my angry words? Who to blame, who not to? World and chaos synonymous. Joy hiding or stolen. The blood. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you very much. All right. What a great evening we're having here. Okay, Robert, you're up, and Maggie Bloomfeld, you're on deck.
Thank you, Tony. Thank you, Betsy and Sarah, for those wonderful feature readings. Adventure in a Car Seat Before Seatbelts, Queens, New York, 1956. The boy observes, the man remembers. 8 years old, squished inside against driver's side rear door of neighbor's Chevy 4-door sedan, crammed with kids being driven to 9 o'clock Sunday mass. The snow turned to sleet, the streets turned to slush, the car's heater overheating everyone in the car. The car's sharp turn turning into a skid, the driver's side rear door flying open. The boy observes, the man remembers, holding on to nothing but the edge of his no seatbelt seat, while staring at the slushy street sliding underneath. Can't look away, can't scream, can't speak. But then the car comes out of the skid and regains traction, and the driver's side rear door safely slams. Nobody else notices. Nobody else notices? Nothing said, nothing at all. The boy observes, the man remembers, feeling what? Besides confused, invisible, invincible, insignificant. Yes and no, but mostly yes, all of the above. Thanks for listening.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay. Robert Rubino, thank you. Maggie Bloomfeld.
Hi, what a wonderful evening. The features were just amazing. Thank you so much. This poem is called Mindfulness. The ads say lifts and separates, breasts, eyelashes, disparate body parts appropriately placed by God on the human frame. Yet so much fiddle-faddle required. Underwires, eyelash curlers, garlic presses, lace, cups, wands, tubes, snaps, straps, apps. Curl them, boost them, be sure they don't kiss. What a gift to women in the gender fluid to have a work person's tools to play with perfection. Hoist those babies to the sky. Unclump that cilium, open up that glance. There is nothing of more importance in life this morning. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Wonderful. I didn't tell you, but Christine, I hope you're okay to go next. And Mark, you're on deck.
Okay. Again, to Betsy and Sarah, thank you for your beautiful words. It's a terrific night, and thanks, Tony, for having us. This is called Time Has Turned Toward Autumn. Epigram. Where are the songs of spring? John Keats. Time has turned toward autumn, and colors fade like an old tintype, making the places inside the house unfamiliar. The sun burns the walls and turns the paint a burnt sepia, when the September equinox lounges long across the room and creates pigments of orange and ebony hues that remind us of pumpkins and witches. Outside, the autumnal glow creates a depression of physical things falling and falling apart. And when we almost grow used to the shorter daylight, the cooler temperatures, we watch the ground fill with colors lit by fire from the changing light. We recollect the songs of spring. Too soon, the early dark of evening. Too soon, the nighttime shadows of my life. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Christine. All right. So Mark, you're up, and Maggie Rippiger, you're on deck.
Right. Thank you, Tony. And I am so happy that Near and Afar has returned. The road I walk has a nest of turkey vultures in a tree between buildings and creek. They drag roadkill over to the lawn and munch on it over the course of several days. Turkey vultures have nervous eye for humans and the passing vehicles that so unwittingly provide for them. They step back, they fly away to roof or tree and wait. Turkey vultures can get accustomed to a familiar human face and keep right on eating. The road I walk takes me to the grocery store. It provides for me, and I place my selections first in cart, then on conveyor belt, and then into reusable shopping bags for the return walk home, where familiar faces greet me, and we might cackle and chirp for a minute. The road I walk has a beaten path with poppy and other short nectar pads surrounded by blades and clumps of grass. Honeybees and hoverflies like to land there, and I step carefully around them. If a hoverfly likes you, it will follow you, and I try to be a likable guy. The road I walk has plenty of shade on one side of the street or the other, depending on time of day, to drop those heavy bags and rest, to watch a dragonfly ride the wind like a kite, to watch a squirrel crawl down from its peekaboo hiding place on a tree trunk and sit up with acorn in its paws, spin it wildly while chewing away. A squirrel will politely let you watch it eat, as long as you stand very still. The road I walk eventually leads me back home, where I store my food in a refrigerator, toss a meal in the microwave, then sit at a computer and see pictures of birds and animals on the screen, but it's just not the same. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, Maggie, you're up, and Ronald, I think we got you back. So Ronald, you're on deck.
Okay. The title is My Mentor. She is old as sliced bread, wizened as a shriveled potato, and smart as a hammer to the thumb. She is prolific as my sweet 100s, clever as an old crow, creative as a bower bird. She is energetic as a puppy, curious as a hungry mouse, fresh as this week's laundry. She is a poet, a writer, a wife, a granny, and a traveler. She's the author of over 400 books. She is Jane Yolen.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you. All right. Ronald, you're up, and Robert Dean, you're on deck.
I'm not reading tonight, Tony.
Okay. Thank you, Ronald. Robert, you're up, and Margaret, you're on deck.
Tony, thanks for running this wonderful series. It's good to be back, as somebody just said. Two great features tonight. One of them I know, the other one I just met. This poem appeared in the most recent issue of Sheila and the Gig Online, and it's titled Bethesda. We are at the podiatry clinic, and we are old and lame and waiting for Jesus in a white coat to lay on hands and make us walk. Shed our canes, support hose, trim our toenails, wash our feet, set us on the path to extremity unction. We wonder what we have done to deserve this, to lie at the sheep gate, watch others go down to the pool before us, to shamble so pitifully the face of the earth. We wonder when we became so old, so lame, so blood-cursed, when time came up and bit us in the ass, booted us from stroller to walker. How long before we need the wheeled chair, before our legs are fodder for the slaughterhouse, before we rot with bed sores and stink like the near dead. And the nurse calls our names and we shuffle, scuffle, motor, and contort our way to the pool, shocked at how much like a youthful us God is, shocked at the quick nip of the clippers, the certainty of inserts, injections. Walk out the gate, not healed, not taking up our bed, tears of grace kissing each step. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Just a great night tonight. Okay, Margaret, you're up, and Marvin, you're on deck.
Thank you, Tony, and thank you to our great teachers tonight. You both were excellent. I'm going to read this in honor of my mom. It's her 5th anniversary tonight. For my hometown heroes, the Massapequa Little League softball girls aged 12 and under are the 2023 World Series champions. This is Massapequa, the place where Massapequa moms fight to unmask their children and allow team mascots to represent leadership. Once a chief, always a chief. A place where girls parade in successes and athleticism, not deteriorated in prostitution. Once known for Long Island Lolita Amy Fisher, her failed attempt of killing her married boyfriend's wife, Mary Jo Buttafuoco, on a Biltmore doorstep. This is not my Massapequa. More recent, Rex Huberman, also known as the Gilgo serial killer, responsible for unsolved murders of escorts now connected around the country. This is not my Massapequa. Despite Jerry Seinfeld, Brian Setzer, and the Baldwins have all lived in this suburban neighborhood at some point, it was also the home for over 40 years to Doris Wall, my mother, the first woman starter of the track and field in the Olympics in 1996. This is my Massapequa. It is where, with proudness, that I declare this extraordinary place to live. Honored to be a woman of the Massapequas.
Okay. Well, as a person who was born and raised in Massapequa, I will take issue with some of your stuff because I think some of it is Massapequa, but that's a whole different story. It's something I tease. My entire family still lives there, so it's a teasing that goes back and forth. All right, Marvin, you're up, and Julian, you're on deck.
Poetry was great tonight, but all good things must end, which means it's my turn. But this was January. I saw a robin from my window, a fact not odd in itself, but this was January. Why, Robin, are you here? Did you lose your way when the others flew and flew? He perched there on the tree, its branches aching from the frost. Only a dream now, the days when sap oozed from its veins, caressing its way into a black earth. Robin, perhaps you are not up to it. The trip, I mean. Some feathers in a heart are small encouragements to brave the slaps conspiring that cause affront. The robin danced on the skeleton and spiraling up to the highest limb began to prim, exulting all the while, a wild song. The beak met the red chest, the snow came. Robin, fly away, escape before you become like the tree. Little bird, did the others desert you? Did they force you from themselves? You've more important things to do than fuss over some feathers. That's for the lovebirds in the cage. Some geese flew over the house just yesterday. Don't know what they were doing up here this time of year. Join them. They will not mind. Flying robin, flying beyond the fingers of the white hands. By God, it was something to see. The geese in flight, eclipsing the light from the dwindling day. It was as if someone called to them, a hunter in a lonely marsh perhaps, his hope a stimulus to the call, at one with the welcoming chant, invigorating the drowsy southern day, the boldness of its echo arousing the pale northern corpse, drifting in among the flock, settling under their wings to buoy newfound souls, a transfusion. Robin, fly, the snow will bury you. Stop your fool priming. Oh, why am I wasting my breath? The robin doesn't understand. Then I saw no robin from my window. I saw the snow and the snow and the night and the night. But somewhere from the snow and the night, there came a sound like a song, or so I thought.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you very much, Marvin. Excellent, excellent. Julian, you're up, and then Carol, if you're back, you're on deck. Julian? Okay. Carol? No. All right, Judy Turk, you're up.
I feel like I'm cutting two people online. Oh, thank you, Betsy. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Tony. So good to be back in poetry and online. So a teeny tiny little introduction. Some of you have met T.A. Niles, the voice, on Zoom. I've known him actually a number of years and met him last night in person for the first time at Lord's Day, and it was just remarkable. And it reminded me of a poem I wrote for him. Show and tell first. Ooh. So here we go. Special delivery. A package arrives, lightweight, fits inside my mailbox, double wrapped in plastic, stickers and labels all over it, Italia. But no name for return address, just cryptic company something, and I'm puzzled. I didn't order anything, not my birthday. What could it be? Bumpy contents, but so light, I wonder what's inside as I cut plastic, more plastic, to reveal a surprise delight in a heavenly shade of plum. Sandals with a perfect wedge, not too high, not too low, just right. A flower flouncing on the side. I hold my breath as I place them with love and tenderness on the floor before my feet, hoping, eyes closed, hoping they fit. And they do, as though they were made custom for me, custom made, special order. Yes, oh yes, I remember a friend, one I've never met, but adore like the sun, like the moon and stars, who asked what shoe size I wear. Yes, oh yes, doing a conversion, I didn't realize Italia. I wear them with a smile. A friend 2,219 miles away can feel each time I wear my special delivery. Thank you. And thank you, TA.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. All right. I think everybody else has read. Julian didn't answer. Carol is still away from her. I'm actually going to read one tonight, which I don't usually do. I've never nibbled on sponge cake or anything else, though I have scarfed more than one cheeseburger. I've never sailed from island to island or fished in the Keys or sat on the coast in Marseille. I've never danced with volcanoes or gazed at the stars on an open sea or taken a weekend to really think about my year. But I had a guy who did that for me, and for 5 decades I was with him, growing older but not up. We pirates born too late, him living the life day to day that I could dip into when I needed a respite. My own particular harbor is a dock at the bottom of a Sorrento cliff, floating in a calm sea, salty water draining my cares and worries, a setting sun softly coloring the sky. A particular harbor I return to in my mind when needed, like his music, knowing that come Monday, it'll be all right. Thank you. All right. Well, we had let me tell you, we had two great, Carol, you back?
I'm back. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's okay, Carol.
My grandson was on with
Carol, it's fine. Just finish us up. You're bringing us home.
Okay. Nighttime. Nighttime brings a sense of peace. It marks the completion of the day's fast pace. Usually the activities of the day slow. After the sun descends, the air feels cooler. Sometimes walking in the dimming light gives a different take on a familiar path. Dinner is a special meal where we relax, talk, and just enjoy each other. Nighttime also brings calls from our children once their workday has ended. Stars twinkle, the moon shows its different phases. Lightning, which is nature's fireworks, gives a light show against the darkened sky. Once we settle indoors, we can choose a movie or a TV show to savor in unison. Just relaxing together makes every night special. Thank you.
Thank you, Carol. All right, so let's unmute ourselves and give our two wonderful features, Betsy and Sarah, a great round of applause. And I want to thank you again, everybody, for a wonderful open mic. I was really impressed, as always. So thank you very much, everybody, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Thank you so much for having us.
Hey, good night.
Thank you, everybody, for all
Thank
your
you,
nice
Tony.
words. Thank
Thank
you.
you, Tony.
Thank you. Thanks,
Good night,
Tony.
everyone.
Night.
Have a great